Have you ever wondered what kids are learning in school these days? I know I have, and I've wondered, what did I learn? When I think about my country, I know that I should know every aspect of the Constitution. That would make sense. That is what our country is founded on. So then, why don't we know? Let's discuss what the Constitution is today.
Today we're not just discussing the Constitution, we're deep diving into how it's been trampled on. The United States Constitution isn't just a dusty old document. It's the lifeblood of our nation, the blueprint for how we govern ourselves. But here's the kicker. Sometimes powerful folks decide they're above the rules. They start playing fast and loose with the Constitution, ignoring its sacred principles and trampling on our rights. Today, we face assaults on the very foundation of our constitutional republic. So buckle up, because today, we're not just learning about the Constitution, we're shining a spotlight on how it's been infringed upon. We'll uncover why it's vital to defend our rights and hold our leaders accountable, because when the Constitution is under attack, it's up to us to stand up and fight back. Let's make some noise and demand the respect our Constitution deserves. All right, so let's talk about Article 1. Article 1 is extremely important because it sets up the legislative branch of our government. Now, you might be wondering, what's the legislative branch? Well, it's part of the government that makes the laws, and in Article 1, it talks all about how this part of the government should work. The article says that Congress is made up of two parts, the Senate and the House of Representatives. These are the folks who make the laws that we all have to follow. They're like the rule makers of the country. It also lays out the powers and responsibilities of Congress, like making laws, declaring war, and controlling how money is spent. But here's the thing. Even though it's super important, people don't always follow what the Constitution says. Let me give you an example from right here in Illinois. In Illinois, the power to decide how money is spent belongs to the state legislature, as outlined in Article 1 of the Constitution. But imagine if the governor decided to spend a large sum of money on a project, like housing illegal immigrants, without approval from the legislature. That's not how it's supposed to work. Article 1 says that only the legislature can make spending decisions. If the governor can spend money without oversight from the legislature, it could easily lead to waste, unfairness in how resources are used. It's like someone took charge of your allowance and spent it all without asking you first. So, everyone must follow the rules laid out in Article 1 to ensure fair and accountable use of funds. Article 2 is all about the president, their powers, responsibilities, and role in our government. But sometimes, even the highest office in the land forgets the rules laid out in Article 2. For instance, consider the issue of social media censorship. If our current president decided that one day he doesn't like what people are saying on social media, so maybe he would order certain voices to be silenced. That means he's essentially playing referee in the game of free speech. And that is a direct violation of the principles outlined in Article 2 and the oath he took to uphold the Constitution. Why does it matter? Well, think about it. Social media is where we express ourselves, share ideas, and connect with others. When the president starts dictating who can speak and who can't, it undermines our freedom of expression and sets a dangerous precedent. Remember, the Constitution isn't just a relic of the past. It's a living document that shapes our lives every day. Let's make sure it's upheld and respected, no matter who is in office. Let's move on. Article 3 is all about the courts, the judges and justices who make sure the laws are fair and applied correctly. Even the courts can face challenges. In recent years, there have been instances where individuals or groups have criticized court decisions they don't agree with, and some have even openly defied court orders. For example, imagine a state government that disagrees with the federal court ruling on an important issue, like voting rights. Instead of respecting the court's decision, they refuse to implement the necessary changes, effectively undermining the authority of the judiciary. Now, you might be wondering, what does it matter if a state or even a county office fails to remove deceased or illegal voters from a voting roll, even if it's against the law? Well, upholding the decisions of the courts and ensuring the integrity of our electoral process are vital for protecting the constitutional republic and the rights of all citizens. So let's remember the importance of the third article of the Constitution and the role of the courts in safeguarding our rights and upholding the rule of law. It's up to all of us to respect the decisions the courts make and work together to ensure justice is served for everyone. Now on to Article 4. This article deals with the relationships between states and the federal government, ensuring unity and cooperation among the states. There's a very recent example of a state clashing with the federal government over immigration policies. Texas has faced significant challenges due to the federal government's immigration policies, particularly regarding border security and illegal immigration. Despite Texas's efforts to enforce its own border, the federal government's approach has often been at odds with Texas's priorities and concerns. For instance, Texas has implemented stringent border security measures to address illegal immigration and drug trafficking, reflecting the priorities of its citizens and elected officials. However, the federal government's policies, such as changes in immigration enforcement and border security strategies, have sometimes undermined Texas's efforts and created tensions between the state and federal government. The federal government must respect the sovereignty and authority of states like Texas in addressing issues that directly impact their communities. On to the fifth article, which outlines the process for amending the Constitution itself. This article ensures that our Constitution can adapt to the changing needs of our society over time. But sometimes political polarization and gridlock in Congress have hindered the amendment process. Take, for instance, the issue of term limits for members of Congress. Despite widespread public support for each measure, political divisions and special interests may prevent Congress from reaching the necessary consensus to pass the amendment. Why does this matter? Well, the fifth article of the Constitution is designed to empower the people to shape their government and address important issues through the amendment process. If we, the people, aren't getting what we want and need, that's a problem. It underscores the importance of overcoming political obstacles and ensuring that our government remains responsive to the will of the people. Article 6 declares the Constitution itself as the supreme law of the land. That means that all laws enacted by federal government, as well as state laws, must adhere to the principles outlined in the Constitution. Recently, Illinois has administered strict gun regulations that have clashed with constitutional principles, particularly the Second Amendment right to bear arms. This effectively infringes upon the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens. This violates the individual's constitutional rights to keep and bear arms for self-defense and other lawful purposes. The sixth article of the Constitution establishes the rule of law and ensures no person or government entity is above it. The 7th article of the United States Constitution is critical. This article specifies how the Constitution would be ratified. The Founding Fathers, having learned from their struggles with the Articles of Confederation, realized that requiring unanimous consent from all 13 states could lead to failure. They understood that getting everyone to agree on something in such a significant way was nearly impossible. Therefore, they set a more likely set of goals, which was that only 9 of the 13 states needed to ratify the Constitution for it to take hold. This wise and strategic decision ensured that all their hard work wouldn't go to waste, and it was also a strike to their enemies. When all was said and done, they were able to declare victory for the United States of America under God. As Juliet Turner, the National Youth Director of Constituting America, points out, this short but powerful clause was essential for the Constitution's survival. By allowing a small number of states to ratify the document, the Founding Fathers increased their chances of acceptance. This made it possible for the new government to be established. This approach was key and helped create a stronger, more effective national government. Their vision was affirmed of holding a constitutional republic grounded in God's divine purpose. As we wrap up our discussion on the Constitution and its 7 articles, it's crucial to reflect on the foundational document that preceded it, the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration, penned by Thomas Jefferson and adopted by the Continental Congress on July 4, 1776, boldly proclaimed the principles upon which the nation was founded. In the Declaration, Jefferson eloquently articulated the inherent rights of all individuals, including life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. He asserted that governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed, and that when a government becomes destructive to these rights, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. The Declaration of Independence was a revolutionary document, both in its content and its implications. It declared the independence of the 13 American colonies from British rule. But it also laid the philosophical groundwork for the establishment of a new nation, founded on the principles of democracy, equality, and freedom. Today, the Declaration of Independence serves as a timeless reminder of the enduring values that unite us as Americans. It inspires to strive for a more just and equitable society where every individual is treated with dignity and respect. As we navigate the complexities of modern governance and grapple with challenges to our democratic institutions, let us not forget the spirit of independence and the commitment to liberty that the Declaration embodies. Let us honor the sacrifices of those who came before us by upholding the principles of freedom and equality for all. Thank you. I'm Angie Shippert.
Today I hope that you've enjoyed this time with me as we journeyed through our Constitution and even the foundation of the Constitution, which is the Declaration of Independence. It is important that we not forget these founding documents, these documents upon which our country was established. If we have any chance at enjoying freedom today, we must remember these. We must pass it on generation to generation. We must educate, and we must spend time going through these beautiful items that encompass life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So please, let freedom ring together in the United States of America. Thank you so much.